That's right. Thank you very
Rick,
much.
tell me a little bit about what you do, because it seems as though life is changing so much. Business is changing. If you own a business and don't have a website, you're missing out a lot. Because I know when I hear about a business, the first thing I do is try and find their website, and it's like you don't have one. And then I wonder, well, why not? You know? So talk about it.
Exactly. Thank you, Ann, for having me on the show. And today, I think business websites are an expectation of users. So people go online for anything, for looking for the hours of a business, perhaps the phone number if they want to talk to someone. Menus for restaurants, that's a great application. Yeah. And in fact, not only do people go online at home, people now with the technology, they can use their phone or their GPS and look up which restaurants might be close to them, for instance. Yeah. So having a business website is critical. But I think the big thing that inhibits people is they don't know where to get started. And I say people, I'm particularly talking about entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, small businesses that don't have an IT staff. And
yeah, I mean, if you're a small business, you don't usually have an IT staff, you know. It's your kid, probably, your IT staff.
Well, exactly. My father can attest that I provide IC support for the family.
Okay.
But the businesses have to find a place to start. They have to pick a name, a domain name, which is like a phone number. It's unique to your business, except that a domain name oftentimes has linked to your brand. And what I do when I work with clients is to say, when you're overwhelmed, take a step back and look at the business objectives that you have for your website. And business objectives could range from anything from just getting your brand out there, making people aware of your restaurant, versus having the ability to capture leads if you're an insurance person or maybe a financial planner. You want to get people to enter their information so you can contact them, add them to your newsletter. Or it could be actually e-commerce if you sell products and services
right online.
Exactly.
Well, now, what is the issue with you need to get certain words in the beginning so that Google or Chrome or whatever is searching is going to find you? How does that happen?
That's an excellent question, and that's a big question because there's a lot of businesses understand, and consumers like yourself understand, they use the internet through search engines, and so they find information about products and services that they're looking for. And when you go to the search engines, you enter some words that are relevant to what you're looking for.
You think it's close enough that you're going to get what you want, right?
You hope, right?
Yeah, with a little plus between it or something to make sure you've excluded all the other junk.
Well, that's the hard part, and that's a search engine challenge, is how to sift through the billions of web pages. And the business owner's challenge is, how do I get to the top of that list?
Exactly.
And getting to the top of the list is really two different ways that businesses can do that. And the first way is what's called organic or search engine optimization, which is what you were alluding to, some of the techniques that people use to put the important words at the title of the page and to make sure that those words are prominent in their page so that the search engines can figure out very easily what the business is about. The second way that businesses can get on the top of the search engines is just by paying for that privilege. And they can pay. And
they do pay.
They do pay for each visitor. In that case, that's...
And they're usually the ones on the top that I think they're kind of like separated almost because they probably got their money in there.
Exactly right. So if it doesn't matter if you use any of the three big search engines, Google's by far the biggest. But you'll notice at the top of the search results, they'll be in a slightly different color.
Yeah, I know.
And it's very subtle, and Google spends a lot of time testing which colors work the best, and they'll be on the side. And those people will bid on an auction system.
Really?
Yes, yes. And it's not just how much they bid, Ann, actually. It's also how much click-through rates they get, because when Google gets paid, if we use Google as an example, when Google gets paid when somebody clicks on your ad. So the good news is that if you're a business owner, you'll only pay for the performance of somebody going to your website.
I see. Okay.
So you can show your ad to 1,000 people, but you're only going to...
But if only 10 look at it.
If only 10 click on it and go to your website, you only charge for those 10.
Okay. And is there a large charge for that? I mean, is that something that when say I come to you, and there's other people, I'm just, Rick is here to explain it. If I go to you and you say, okay, here's a good idea, here's a website, and here's the words you should put in there, and yada, yada, yada. Can I make money on my website by putting ads on it?
Well, that's a good question, and it goes back to the business objectives part, because what you have to do is you have to look at all of the math from a business perspective. So for instance, if you're paying $10 for a visitor to your website, and the average conversion rates are about 2%, and it varies depending on what it is that you're trying to do in terms of leads versus sales. But if you're paying $10 and 2% of the people that come to your website buy, that means that you got to get 100 people or
to make
$1,000
that
for 2
2%.
sales.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an attorney where the average lifetime value of a client is very large, then it might make sense, and people spend $45 on bidding on keywords for case mesothelioma.
Learning so much.
But the nice thing is you can actually do the math, and then using what's called analytics, which is something that all business owners that have websites should have analytics, which is layman's terms means the ability to see how many people are coming to my website, where are they coming from, and what do they do when they get there. And once I have that level of visibility, I can make business decisions to say I'm willing to bid $2 because based on the way the math works, I need to spend no more than $2 per visitor for this type of visitor to make money. If I'm selling Callaway golf clubs and 50% of the people buy, I might be able to afford to bid higher.
Yeah. But if you're selling widgets and they, little things that don't add up to much, then you got to rethink all of this.
Exactly right.
What are some of the tips? I know that you have a blog, and we did put the blog up there. And it said you get some business tips. Are these the type of tips that you give? I've still got this hair here coming out. Are these the business tips that we'll find on your blog? Or is that something that only you write on, or do people respond to you?
Well, I'm open to invite your members and your viewers to guest posts on my blog. I certainly would entertain that. I have about 65 posts. Each posts are mini articles. Most of the articles are do-it-yourself style articles, so simple things like videos on how do I create a Facebook page.
You have a very nice page. I did look at it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ann. I appreciate that, and as do you. The other thing to think about is that I guess one tip that I'd like to give all businesses before we end the segment, and this is a freebie, so everybody likes freebies. And
absolutely.
Free perpetual advertising is the way I look at it, but if you think of Google and Google Maps, which you may use sometimes, or if you search for a restaurant in Google, say Restaurant Schenectady, what you'll probably see in the search results like a map with like the little push pins.
I always check on it to see exactly where it is. Okay, now I got it.
Exactly.
And one time it was wrong. So.
Well, that's true. I have been... My GPS is a wonderful friend, but it's not always a friend.
Exactly, yeah.
But you can put your business listing into Google for free. It stays there, it's perpetual. You don't pay per individual user. If you sign up for it and you claim your business, and there's a process for claiming your business because Google probably has a listing for your business whether you know it or not.
Yeah, I'm sure. Because
they source the information from different data.
It's all there.
It's all there, but you want to make sure it's reflective of your brand. So for Google, for instance, you can upload 10 pictures, you can upload 5 videos, and just like you do on AnnPerillo.com, you've got a lot of interactivity going on. You've got videos, you've got pictures, behind the scene making of the show. So before people ever show up, if they go to your website, they got a whole wealth of information. 24/7 days a week, 365 days a year.
You don't have to even be there, right?
That's right. You don't have to know. And then you augment that with the newsletter, which is also a great thing for businesses. If you're out and you're at events and you're collecting business cards, when you collect a business card, ask those people if you can add them to your mailing list.
Yeah, I always do that.
Get their permission.
Because I don't like to do that otherwise.
Exactly, because you can get into trouble.
Well, and I do have a disclaimer, at the end of my newsletter that says if you don't want to receive this, please let me know. I won't feel bad. Honest, I really don't feel bad.
That's right.
But I do cry a lot. Just kidding. Rick, such a pleasure to have you on and
Thank you,
to
Ann.
let our viewers know a little bit more about it. So many people now, because of these economic times, are going into business for themselves. Yes. So this is a great way to augment your business by getting it out there. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks for having me, Ann.
Good.